know it ain't minute like 6 though. Never need an intro. Yeah, even through the talk and all the chatter, I can show them that I know my family matters like a Winslow. Outdoors smoking Indo.
And welcome back to another CGS video. Y'all know me by now. And welcome back to the final prediction video for each division, AFC East. Took me a while to make this one. I know it's been 3 weeks since the last one, but I'm finally doing it. Y'all know how I get with like videos in between, but we're finally here. The final prediction video for every division. It's already August. The season's already started. The Hall of Fame game was just yesterday when I'm recording this. Almost there. So I had to get this video done, and obviously I have my playoff prediction video as well. That will be done very, very soon as well this time. I promise. No more misslips for me. But let's just go ahead and get straight into the AFC East. And the first team we're looking at today, Buffalo Bills. Y'all know how we work. Let's go ahead and get straight into the stats. Ended last year with a 13-3 record. Obviously, that terrible loss to the Bengals in the divisionals last year. Really, you could tell it hurt. Let's go ahead. Offensive-wise, though, 397.6 yards a game, 258.1 through the air, 139.5 on the ground, scoring 28.4 points a game with the second-best offense in the entire football league. Defensive side of the ball, really kind of played up to those offense as well. 319.1 yards given up a game, 214.6 through the air, 104.6 on the ground, 17.9 points given up a game with a turnover differential of 0, which is really impressive, giving them the 6th best defense in the league. And it's just, it seems like this team has kind of peaked, in my opinion. Obviously, like, this team has been really good for the past few years, but really nothing to show. A singular AFC championship to, but that doesn't really, validate your winnings. You can win all the games you want in the regular season. If you don't win in the playoffs, it really doesn't matter, right? We could sit up here all day. Patriots went 17-0. They didn't win the biggest game to solidify themselves as the greatest team ever. They lost the Super Bowl. So, like I said, this team, they can win all the games they want in the regular season. Like I said, they went 13-3 last year. Could have gone 14-3 or 13-4. But, one single AFC championship game doesn't validate your winnings, and it won't. You got to win the Super Bowl, or none of your regular season wins even matter. But like I said, starts with Josh Allen, Diggs, Poyer, Micah Hyde, Trey White, all these Milano, all these guys. Yeah, you lost Tremaine Edmonds, I believe that's the one. You lost the linebacker Edmonds in free agency, but then you went out. You got some solid pickups, such as Trent Sherfield, came from the Dolphins last year, played really well when he was as that third receiver for Tua and the Dolphins. You signed Taylor Rapp, a really good downhill safety. When like I said, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are kind of injury prone, so when they go down, you have somebody to fall back on. And then you re-signed Shaq Lawson. Matt Milano got a new contract. We know and all that. And then you draft picks. You went and got Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Utah, arguably one of the second best tight ends. Some consider him the best tight end in the draft. Cyrus Torrance, a guard from Florida. Dorian Williams, linebacker from Tulane. Justin Shorter, wide receiver from Florida. You also signed Deontay Hardy, former Saint, great punt returner, great slot guy when you need him to be. Obviously, Damian Harris, Latavius Murray, along with James Cook in the backfield. I know Don Cook said he was still considering the Bills. I don't think that's in play anymore as of right now. I'm recording. But it's like I've said, and also Dawson Knox apart with Don Kincaid. Let me mention him. Obviously, really decent O-line, really good O-line. It could be better. But it's like I said, it feels like this team is peaked. You got a really good defense. You got a really good offense. You got studs like everywhere. Kyer Elam, stud. You got all these guys who are learning from these vets and who are taking a lot in from these vets and are doing what they have to. But like I said, it seems like this team has kind of peaked, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like I said, you can have all the wins you want in the world, but if you don't win a Super Bowl at the end of the day, your wins don't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't matter if you win 13 games or 14 games, 15, 16 games. If you get bounced out second round, wild card round, championship, it really doesn't mean anything. Obvious, but this team has the weapons, and it's had the weapons for a while now, and we're just waiting on the Bills to do something with it. Will this be the year that we actually see the Bills improve a lot in any sense? They really doesn't need to be improved. They just need to. It just feels like they need to get over the hump. And are we going to see them get over hump this year? I don't know. I don't know yet, but I guess we'll find out in the near future. Before we get into the schedule, I forgot to mention Von Miller. I don't know how one of the biggest names in football slipped my mind. It's been a long day. Cut me some slack. It's the last prediction video. Obviously, Von Miller adds a lot to this team as well. Like I said, they got a lot of good players. Doesn't validate anything unless they win the big game. Let's go and get right into the schedule. Technically, we already know how the schedule is going to play out because it's the last video. We've already, gone through everybody's winnings, who the Bills have already played, except for the division. So let's get into it. Week 1 against the Jets. I said you lose to the Jets. You'll beat the Raiders. You'll beat the Commanders. You'll beat the Dolphins. You'll beat the Jags. You beat the Giants. You beat New England. You beat the Bucks. You'll beat the Bengals. You'll beat the Broncos. Lose to the Jets twice. It's surprising, I know. Just hear me out. You'll beat the Eagles. Going into your bye week, week 13. Great time for a bye week. Great time for a bye week, in my opinion. I said you'll lose to the Chiefs. All right. You'll beat the Cowboys. You'll beat the Chargers. You'll beat the Patriots, and you'll lose to the Dolphins one time. At the end of the day, I have the Buffalo Bills ending the season with a 13-4 record with some very, very close losses to the Dolphins, the Jets twice, and the Chiefs. However, I'm not gonna say whether they win division or not. I believe it's close between. This season to me. I feel like it's gonna be close all the way through to the end between the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins. We'll just have to see how it plays out. However, I do give the Bills a 13-4 record for this next year. And the next team we are looking at is the New York Jets, a team where I don't. Every year somebody expects the Jets to be great, and they always just fall flat on their face. Obviously, that's just how the Jets are. It's how the Jets I've always watched growing up. So, but it does feel like there's a new era arriving in New York. But let's go and get straight into it. They finished 7-10 last year. Obviously, they started off pretty well. Couldn't finish through. Quarterback play was terrible. So 7-10 record, averaging 318.2 yards a game, 219 through the air, 99.2 on the ground. Only scoring 17.4 points a game, giving them the 25th total defense in the league, offense in the league. Sorry. Defensive wise, giving up 311.1 yards a game, 189.4 through the air, 121.6 on the ground, only giving up 18.6 points a game with a -7 turnover differential. This was the fourth best defense in the league last year. And obviously, we all know how bad this offense was last year. The quarterback play wasn't great. It really hasn't been for a while now. So, we understand that, but, all the weapons they had last year, and for them to still kind of, like Garrett Wilson, Uzama, Conklin, Corey Davis balled out a few times last year. Not utilizing Elijah Moore. Breece Hall broke out. Michael Carter in the backfield. It was a very disappointing season for this team, especially after starting, I believe, 5-2. Starting 5-2, you're feeling good, and then just dropping 7-10. But that's why you brought in Aaron Rodgers, one of the Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks to do it of all time, of our generation, of course. So bringing him in, is going to change a lot. And like I said, you got weapons. You got Garrett Wilson. You have Breece Hall's coming back from his injury. You still got Michael Carter in the backfield with Breece Hall, Uzama, Conklin. And then you brought in Alan Lazard. You brought in Randall Cobb. You brought in Mecole Hardman. Right, all these guys who are going to help your team get better. And the defense is still really, really good. You just locked down Quentin Williams to a 4-year deal. His brother Quincy's right there in the backfield with you, right? Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. You brought in Adrian Amos, CJ Mosley, top, one of the better linebackers in this league. Like I said, you signed Adrian Amos. You lost Chuck Clark to ACL tear already, but I said, but this team, they'll be able to bounce back from that. And obviously, your draft pick, your first round, what's his name? Oh, Will McDonald, edge rusher. He's going to help a lot on this defense. Obviously, you up the offensive line with Joe Tidman from Wisconsin and Carter Warren from Pittsburgh. So this team does have it seems like they have the pieces to win now, right? It kind of reminds me of the Lions, like, oh, the Lions have what they need to win now. Question is, are they actually going to be able to do it? And obviously, I think this team is poised to break out this year. Me personally, I know a lot of other people aren't sold on the Jets quite yet, or don't believe, like, just because they brought all this in, that they're not gonna do as better as they did last year. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and make this team a hell of a lot better. Obviously, like I said, the quarterback play from last year was just abysmal. Zach Wilson, fucking Joe Flacco, fucking Mike White. Like those guys, those are role guys. Those are role player guys. Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna come in, he's gonna do. Obviously, yeah, he had a bad year on the Packers last year, but regardless, if he can bounce back from that, play like he did in 2020 and even 2021, I think the Jets will be just fine. I think they'll be poised for a great year this year. Now it is time to look at the Jets' schedule. Like I said, with the Bills portion, we already know who they're going to beat, who they're going to lose to, other than division. So let's go and get straight into it. I said you beat the Bills. I said you beat the Cowboys. I said you beat the Patriots. I said you beat the Chiefs. I said you beat the Broncos. I said you beat the Eagles. You're going into your bye week looking good. I said you beat the Giants. I said you beat the Chargers. I said you beat the Raiders. I said you beat the Bills. I said you lose to the Dolphins once. You'll beat the Falcons. You'll beat the Texans. You'll beat the Dolphins. You'll beat Washington, you'll beat Cleveland, and then you'll lose to the Patriots one time. That is right. I am giving the Jets a 15-2 record this year. It sounds crazy, I know. Just hear me out, right? A lot of the teams they play are really lower tier teams, and the top teams they do play, such as Buffalo, such as KC, and those are really only or Philly, of course. Those are only three teams I see the Jets probably being in a close game, but I think they'll pull it out, right? Those three teams, obviously you played the Bills twice. I think those four games right there all come down to close. But other than that, they really have nobody on this schedule that can really compare to them other than, like I said, the Bills, Eagles, and Chiefs. This is why I'm giving them a 15-2 record. The next team we are looking at today is the Miami Dolphins, a team who I had very high hopes for last year. Obviously, I said last year in my prediction video that these guys were a sleeper team in my opinion, and they almost made the playoffs. However, a lot of stuff happened. Obviously, the whole Tua with the concussions, all this other injury stuff. It was a rough year for the Dolphins. However, I still believe there's a chance for them to bounce back this year. Let's go and get into the stats. Finished 9-8 last year, barely missing out on the playoffs, averaging 364.5 yards a game, 265.4 through the air, 99.2 on the ground, scoring 23.4 points a game with the sixth best offense in the league. Defensive side of the ball, giving up 337.8 yards a game, 234.8 through the air, 103 on the ground, giving up 23.5 points a game, a -7 turnover differential, the 18th overall defense in the league. And this offense is really, really good. Obviously, they went out, they extended Tua as your franchise quarterback. You got probably the fastest receiver room in the league now with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and you added Chosen Anderson, Robbie Anderson. But it's like these guys are really, really good. Obviously, the offensive line could use the work. Obviously, Teron Armstead is the left tackle. That's to his blind side. The rest of the line could use work. Obviously, you lost Mike Gesicki to the Patriots. So obviously, tight ends room is a little scarce at the time. But running back wise, you got Jeff Wilson, and you also have you drafted Von Acme, and you also have, I believe it was Raheem Mostert. Y'all just re-signed them. And the big one is you traded for Jalen Ramsey. Obviously, got him from the Rams, paired him up with Xavier Howard, but now he's going to miss at least until December with a torn meniscus. It kind of sucks. But, obviously this defense can be playing a little bit better than what it has been. Obviously, Jerome Baker is leading that middle of the defense. You got Christian Wilkins, on that front seven as well. But the Miami defense has always really been weak. Obviously, Javon Holland, great young safety. He's ball hawk. He can go hit you, and he can make plays back there. But it's really the defense that's the weakest point to me in this whole on this team. If the defense can play up to the standard that everybody thinks they can play at, and everybody knows they can play at, I think the Miami Dolphins will be just fine. But it's all the whole Tua stuff. Is Tua actually going to be able to play healthy this year? Obviously we all the scary concussions from last year. We all know about that. Obviously, he took a lot of hits to the head last year, and it is kind of disconcerting when you see somebody have that many, concussions. Obviously, that means they probably won't be in the league much longer. So if Tua can play it safe, everybody else can, protect him. I think they'll be just fine. Our draft class, like I said, Devon Acme, third rounder. Your second rounder, Cam Smith from South Carolina. He's gonna help out that. He's gonna help out that defense a lot. But my whole thing is, if Tua can stay healthy, I think this team will do great things. Like I said, you got two of the best receivers in the league, two of the fastest receivers in the league. You added Robbie Anderson to that room. It's just, and Now it's just a question of can the defense step up like everybody believes they can step up, like they believe they can step up. I guess only time will tell. Now it's time to go over the Dolphins' schedule. I said you lose to the Chargers. I said you beat New England. I said you beat the Broncos. I said you lose to Buffalo. I said you lose. No, I said you beat the Giants. I said you beat Carolina. You'll lose to Philly. You beat New England twice. You'll lose to KC. Bye week is week 10. I said you beat the Raiders. I said you lose to the Jets once. You beat Washington. I said you lose to Tennessee. You'll beat the Jets once. I said you lose to the Cowboys. I said you lose to Baltimore. And I said you lose to the. I said you'll beat the Bills one last time. At the end of the day, I have the Dolphins finishing with a 9-8 record, same as last year. I want this team to be good. I want this team to make the playoffs, but in the conference they're in and the division they're in, I just don't see it happening again this year. AFC stacked, and the Dolphins are in a stacked division. So 9-8 seems reasonable. However, I think they barely missed the playoffs this year yet again. But anything could happen. You know what I mean? It's like I've always said. This is just my prediction. It's not. I guarantee you it won't happen. But I have the Dolphins going 9-8. And the final team we are looking at today is the New England Patriots. A team that I do not think is going to be as well or as good as they were in previous years. I think this team will actually fall off quite a bit this year. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. Finished 8-9 last year, averaging 314.6 yards a game, 208 through the air, 106.6 on the ground, scoring 21.4 points a game last year, giving them the 26th overall offense. Defense side of the ball, giving up 322 yards a game, 216.5 through the air, 105.5 on the ground, giving up 20.4 points a game with a +7 turnover differential, eighth best defense in the league. That's top 10 defense. Offense obviously is bottom bottom 10. So, but when I'm not sold on Mac Jones at all, honestly. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. He hasn't been, honestly. Yeah, he made the playoffs as a rookie, but I don't think he's actually good enough to keep leading this team. Obviously, he fell off last year, and I think the fall off is going to be even bigger this year. You got rid of Damian Harris. You're going to put all your trust in Ramondre Stevenson in your backfield. You got Kendrick Bourne. You signed Juju Smith-Schuster. Um, Tyquan Thornton played really decent last year when he was on the field. You signed Mike Gesicki to pair him along Hunter Henry. The defense, like I said, really, really, it's a top 10 defense. So, Jalen Mills, obviously McCourty retired, but you got Matthew Judon. You just paid him. He got a pretty good raise. Juwan Bentley, Barrymore, all these guys. I said Jalen Mills already. You went and drafted Christian Gonzalez to help you out, obviously. And you also picked up you drafted Keon White, the end, second rounder. And I said, I'm looking at the transactions and I don't really see the Patriots are doing much. There's not a lot of names that jump out at me and be like, okay, well, this is where they got better. No, they're actually trying to improve where they're at in the division. Because obviously, I believe this is the worst team in their division. And this used to be the best team. Like for years they won multiple AFC East championships, and they were on a 18 season streak on that. And now the fall off, is just it's kind of insane. And that's like I said, I think Bill Belichick and his time's about. I think he's probably mentally checked out at this point. I think he's obviously done enough in this league to where he can retire. He's going in the Hall of Fame. So I think he's about that age where he's just done, and I don't think he's not. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but he's almost about ready to call it quits. And obviously the rest of the team, this team he has now won't be as great as the teams he used to play. Like I said, I don't think Mac Jones is a good quarterback. And obviously, like I said, you went out and got Juju, yeah, but the rest of your receiver room is kind of mid. And the O line, they play good. Ramondre Stevenson, I don't see the hype in him. And obviously, this defense can play well, but if you're not scoring anything on offense, you're not gonna win. And so I think this team will drastically fall off this season. Like I said, I'm looking at the move list. They didn't make any good moves that stand out to you. Like, oh, that's great right there. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think they're still in play. They were in play for Dalvin Cook. Obviously, I think his options are still the Jets and Dolphins at this point. I'm recording this. So, like I say, it's just, this team, I I personally don't expect them to be good, and if you're a Patriots fan in my comments, I don't care what you think. This is my opinion, but this team won't be good this next season. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Patriots' upcoming schedule. You open up against Philadelphia, loss. Miami, loss. Jets, loss. You got the Cowboys, loss. Saints, loss. Raiders, loss. Bills, loss. Dolphins, loss. Commanders, loss. Colts, loss. No. Week 11, not looking too good. I said you beat the Giants. You'll lose to the Chargers. You'll lose to the Steelers. You lose to the Chiefs. You'll lose to the Broncos. You'll lose to the Bills. And you'll beat the Jets in the last regular season game. I do have the Patriots going 2-15, but it's like I said earlier, this is the weakest team in the AFC East and probably the weakest team in the entire AFC conference. You know, they didn't, like I said, they didn't do anything that crazy to make me think that they got way better than they did last year. They lost a few key pieces, and it's like I said, I think Belichick's already mentally checked out. That's just the way I see it. 2-15. I don't care what y'all think. Is my opinion. First of all, I don't care how good this team used to be or how good they can be. They won't be good this year. I'm going to say it right now. So I do believe the Patriots will go 2-15. Now, hypothetically speaking, if my predictions came true, here's how the AFC East would look. The Jets would finish first, 15-2. Bills would finish second at 13-4. Dolphins would finish third at 9-8, and the Patriots would finish last with a 2-15 record. That concludes it for each division prediction, and we officially have the AFC playoff picture set based off my prediction records. Here's how it would look. The Jets would be the first seed at 15-2. The Chiefs would come in at the second seed at 14-3. Bengals would be the third at 13-4. Jags would be the fourth seed at 11-6. The Bills would be 13-4 at the 5. Chargers come in at the 6 with a 12-5 record, and the Ravens finish at 7th with a 12-5 record. Obviously, I said the Chargers beat the Ravens early in the season, which will give them that advantage to get the 6th seed. And that is our prediction set. Thank y'all for watching these prediction videos. Like I said, I wanted to up the ante this year with them. I wanted them to look better. I wanted them to sound better. Hopefully, I was able to accomplish that. Thank you for watching all of them. And like I said, this was the last prediction video for the divisions. Now it's time to predict the playoffs. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Hope y'all have a great Sunday or a great Monday when y'all are seeing this. But like I said, thank you for watching. Hope y'all have a good day.
Blood don't make you kinfolk. Loyalty is what I send for. No half stepping, only 10 toes. Now life is at a different tempo.